How do? Oh, welcome back to the Dave DY Show. Hello, my friends. Hello, viewers. Hello, World Wide Web. The millions and millions of people nobody watching. Whatever. Next video up on the docket. Yeah, I've been lifting weights. Brought that up in some past videos. And I'm going pretty heavy now. Basic, quick and dirty. I'm doing 4-plate squats. I'm doing 4.5 plate deads. That's as much weights up at this stupid clubhouse. I'm doing 3.5 plate. No, 2.5 to 3 plate bench, right? And I do all kinds of other crap for your buys and all that other stuff. There's machines, there's universal, there's dumbbell, there's limited barbell. But that's pretty much it. So it's heavy weight. And for a 50-year-old, and here's the other thing. I've really gradually built up to this. So for squats, I got pretty good form. I've lifted weights my whole life. I don't use a belt for 4.5 plate squats. I'm not using a belt, and I'll do 4.5 plate. I'm never going heavier than that, even if I went to a real gym. And if I went to a real gym and I ever started to want to look at heavy weights, I'd have to go back to weight belts and, wraps and such. And I've got them all. I've got a Nike bag full of stuff, but I only do 3 squats, right? I do 3 max or whatever. I'll do 10 with 3 plates, maybe 15 with 2 plates. My boy Oscar Cedillo, he'd have Lester with 1-2 plates, make him do 50, right? You max till you puke. And Super Mario, I think Mario Lemieux. Hello, RIKA. Riki is on the dog painkiller, whatever it is, Rimadyl, whatever that stupid thing is, and she's doing fine. She's been limping around for months. Tracy got her painkillers. Now she's all doped up on opioids, just running and gunning. But we've got an appointment for August 2nd. Probably another $5 zillion to fix her hip, because I think her hip's bad now. Anyway, what the hell was I talking about, man? Yeah, I'm never going to go that heavy. 4 plates tops for pretty much anything. Bench, press, dead, squat, whatever. And the deadlifting now is very dangerous. Nowadays, with the majority of training. So here's the quick and dirty. If you look at the Mr. Olympias, Mr. Universe, all the main bodybuilders of traditional bodybuilding today, which is a minor facet of the fitness industry anymore. You have CrossFit, you have natural, you have those guys in board shorts that, and here's the other thing. Drug utilization in this country, while maximized and ongoing from a recreational entertainment space to a performance enhancing space, right? Driving globally. So it's the US, but it's the US and Europe, it's Eastern Bloc, it's semi-communist nations, China. If you haven't watched the Worlds, China swimming, one of the dudes just broke a record. He beat some Australian. And he won the medal, and the Australian wouldn't get on the podium with him because he's like, this fucking guy's doping. Everybody's doping all the time. It's who gets caught and not, right? Pretty much. And anyone anymore to state that I swam, or I biked, or I lifted, or I fought, I wrestled, I golfed, anything clean, right? If you did it on something more than an entertainment level, the chances are probably high. 80 to 85 to 90%, 95%. And this goes across the board in basketball, football, baseball, that these guys are cycling some type of something. And that's just the nature of it, man. And the drugs have evolved, if you're unaware, right? So it's not anabolic steroid anymore. Right? All your damn anabolics that we used to classify, DECA, decabolin or you know, whatever the pill was. It was a pill which destroyed your stomach, destroyed your kidneys and your liver, and that was, you know, 1940s, 50s, 60s type steroid use. And then you've got trenbutolin or you know, whatever. It's synthetic. It's man-made testosterone, right? That turned into injectable, right? And then nowadays, and you had all those. You had all these fucking injected, synthesized hormones from animals, from pine trees, from anything in a lab, right? That would perform what human testosterone, your body produced testosterone, would do, which enhances muscle growth, right? So it would peak that level. Your testes stop producing the testosterone. They don't need it anymore. Your body's receptors are all showing that it's saturated because you're on these elevated levels of these drugs, right? Regardless of whatever side effects are going on. Destroying your liver, destroying your kidney, hurting other organs, whatever the case, right? So they moved to testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, and that was popular in the early 2000s, right? And it's been used forever now. If you go to your wellness clinics right now and in one way, shape, or form, dependent upon your physician, just like everything else in this fucking country, getting your marijuana card, getting your opioids, getting your psychiatry, your psychology treatment, get whatever. If you go to the right doctor, regardless of what your results are, because they have a range that they can work within that's legal, as long as it's justified and documented, you probably get testosterone injections. You get testosterone replacement therapy, which is a bunch of injections to raise your testosterone level using produced testosterone, not you know, mined or human testosterone. This stuff is still synthetic, probably very close, yet probably still very destructive in whatever levels, to a testosterone level when they take your blood tests that are relevant to what you were when you were, say, 20. An average 20-year-old adult white male, right? And then they give you an injection that closes that gap, and you do it once a week, you do it whatever, once a month, whatever the fuck. I don't know what testosterone replacement therapy entails. I just know many people that do it. You can go to wellness clinics and get this done, and the injections are in the hundreds of dollars, and it equates to, you know, over time, thousands of dollars, but you have more lean muscle mass, you have more energy, you have less fat storage on your body. It does what it does to a 20-year-old pseudo with differing side effects, right? So with all that shit going on, you know, testosterone replacement therapy, human growth hormone, all these fucking drugs that are in the mix anymore, and all these athletes who fucking use them, right? I haven't done and I'll never do that shit, and there's no need for that for me. But it's pretty impressive when you look at Ronnie Coleman or you look at Dorian Yates. You look at the mass monsters nowadays like Phil Heath, you know, the true bodybuilders. They don't have the muscle density and they don't lift the weights that the legacy bodybuilders, true bodybuilders, lifted. There's no need. They have new hammer machines. They have new kinesiology studies. There are doctors now. There are clinics now. There are institutions that expressly look at all the functions of the human body. And they've dialed it down to very specific areas. So they have a machine that only focuses on the mechanics, that focuses on the physiology, that focuses on the kinesiology, the biometrics, the biomechanics, the hormonal, the response, you know, pathways for everything that attains whatever your desired result is for whatever you're looking at. And so your machines, your training, your psychology, your nutrition, your therapy, your your drug therapy, whatever, all that shit is tailored for a specific output. And you can grow these massive individuals that pretty much threaten non-injury anymore, because they focus target muscle groups very applicably in a very rigid schedule for training, 52 times a year, once a week or whatever, and they have the ability to do what we've done all along. You break the muscle down, the muscle bag balloons larger because it expects a higher workload on that muscle, right? That's what muscle growth is. And that enlargement then allows that higher output, that higher work to be performed by that muscle. That's what bodybuilding is, which is, in the past, you had to continue to stress that muscle beyond its current capability. Failure. For that muscle fiber to break and then heal, you have to heal. That's why there's got to be a down period for that muscle or muscle group to heal and then to regrow and have the capability to be stronger, bigger, larger, work more, heavier workload, right? And they don't need to do that anymore. So Phil Heath and those guys, they never lift more than 4 plates on anything. And I'll never lift that. And I don't take drugs. And this 50-year-old body's busting all over. My joints, my tendons, my structural system, my skeletal system, the aches and pains, the recovery. But along all those lines, and I'm sorry I've been long-winded, there are a number of percussion massagers out there. There's one called a Tam Tam. Shout out to Tam Tam. And the only reason I shout out to Tam Tam, I think it's Varasahabi is the guy. Maybe, maybe not. I think I saw him on Joe Roby. Varasahabi is one of the premier coaches in mixed martial arts, MMA. And this dude, through his hundreds, thousands of hours of daily, weekly, monthly, annual exposure to high-performance athletes, especially in the grappling realm. When you stand up and strike, and you do that in a training fashion with pads and whatnot, your body isn't beat. It isn't beat up. And I mean some of the striking you see top performance athletes like boxers, mixed martial artists, whatever, do. They look like they're beating a bag. Bah, 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 bah. Beautiful conditioning. It wears on your aerobic, meaning it taxes your muscles. There's oxygen burning, your lungs sucking in air, performance output at a high peak volume, target heart rates or whatever, or even higher. And that works well, but there's no real damage to your structure. So it's a very healthy, high interval training, that HIIT methodology, high interval activity training. HIIT, I think it is, high intensity interval training, that is beneficial to you. And of course there's these instances where people press it too far, especially in CrossFit, and then there's toxicity in their muscles. There's breakdown so that you have all your byproduct, and then it saturates your system and it turns into almost a sepsis, where your body goes septic and it can't heal. It's fucking rare and it's conditional. Most people do not. It's becoming more increased because you have a higher percentage of individuals taking that maximum performance to the next level, right? And they're common people. People you know, people you live with, and who the hell knows what their genetic and biological makeup is, right? But for the most part, doesn't happen. So you've got these people that are doing this wonderful high intensity interval training, yet they're not beating their bodies. When you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, when you do Sambo, when you do wrestling, when you roll on a mat, it is going to cause issue, because there's human interaction that has torque, meaning angles and force, and it also ties in weight. So you using your own body and our soft tissue bodies, dude, and then our joints and our someone else's mass, which is why you usually wrestle a weight class, because you don't want a giant person who totally destroys you, crushes you, and hurts you. But even then, when you have competitive training in a facility, any type of dojo or gym or whatever, there's these occasions when you're rolling, when you're doing jiu-jitsu, when you're doing wrestling, when you're doing any of that, even karate, right, or kung fu, some of those, if they have, training where they're, interacting, there's the likelihood that you can injure. You injure joints, you injure digits, you injure tendons, muscles, you torque and tweak your skeletal structure, right, and your trigger points, which is oddly enough what the art focuses on, because most often the art is to control and ultimately suppress your opponent. And so you work on those pieces that are most vulnerable, which are knees and arms and elbows and necks. And so all of those things in play, there's a ton of injury, right? So this guy, Firas Zahabi, spent a lot of time working with these people, and he came up with a percussion massager called a tam-tam. Tam-tam! I say, you guys send me a tam-tam. And the tam-tam, it's a handheld percussion massager. Well, this thing's like $2. It's like $199 or something. And it comes with these accessories and blah, blah, blah. It's a fucking drill or skill saw, or it's a handheld, powered, battery-powered tool that they've modified with some type of component that instead of sawing, cutting, doing whatever it does massaging. It has percussion that can be applied in a methodology to your soft tissue body. And I'm not paying $200 for that shit. So if you go online, there's multiple videos now to take this thing, which is the Power Share, it's the Power Share skill saw, or it's got the little blade that you can cut. I can't remember right now, I'm taking a brain fart. But this thing's pretty epic. I can unlock it. It is unlocked. And then you can pull this down, and you've got to make one of these. This is a lacrosse ball. And then you drill into it. There's universal attachments for these devices that you can make. And this thing holds specific tool parts that you can put in there. Saws and whatnot for your workshop, and you can modify this thing so that it's got a percussion instrument on the front of it, on the top of it, which is a lacrosse ball, which I drilled in and I mounted and I did whatever. There's a bunch of videos out there to do this. This is like $80, $88, $90. I think tops $100. $20, $25 for this, $2, $3, $5 for a ball, $80, $85 for the handheld unit. Comes with one battery charger, and this thing is identical. It works just as well as the tam-tam, if not better, because ultimately, with all the injuries that go on, you need to have a percussion massager in your toolkit. You have to have it. If you don't have it, the tendons, all your joint stuff, ultimately it'll kill you. So these things are critical. They don't take a lot of time. They take 3, 5, 7 minutes. You can put it on localized joints, a localized muscle. You can put it on soft tissue, hard tissue. You can put it on bone, and you can run it at a low speed, and it will massage that part out. Sometimes you need assistance if you want to do your back or whatnot, though you can easily, lean over and get the back on this thing. This one's relatively loud. Most of these devices are loud, these percussion massagers, these percussion, units. Let me give you a demo. Pretty loud if I'm talking. So, it is what it is, but you're only running this thing for like 5 minutes, right? And so this thing works awesome. This one's pretty cool because it's got a button on the side, and you can actually extend it straight, and you can run it this way, right? You can run it this way. You can run it for the hard to reach areas, right? Whatever you got to do. I pretty much run it folded, and then I'll have Tracy do my back or whatever. But any of your because truthfully, when you have soreness, when you have tendinitis, when you have something that is a recurring and it's a persistent, maybe it's nagging. Like me, I have right now some tendinitis in my elbow, and it goes all the way up my shoulder into my back. Tendinitis, it's inflammation. Inflammation is the sign of injury. Could be micromuscular, microfiber tears, could be microtendon ruptures, pulling away from the muscle, the bone, could be a combination, could be just stretching, could be overuse, you overtaxed it, right? So there's swelling, it's an injury. to that area. And then it affects, ooh, a little bit of grease. It affects the functionality of that mobility, the mechanics of whatever you're doing. Your grip is weaker, right? Through your wrist, into your elbow. And then, ultimately, it will become chronic, right? If you continue and you don't let it heal and you don't rest and you don't manage whatever the underlying reason is for that injury, which could be excessive weight, poor form, both, could be genetics, could be prior injury, could be anything. There's RIKA. So this freaking thing is awesome. I built it myself, took 10 minutes, right? I ordered this Recipro. It's a Recipro Tools universal attachment. I bought the ball. I have a couple balls. I bought a smaller one. You can drill a golf ball, do it, glue it in there. This is rubber. I didn't need to glue it in. And then this thing goes. And man, does it go. It fixes everything. You got to run this. It makes your hand. It fixes everything. You run this. You can run it in a relaxed state, and you can, as this thing can be dialed up to higher revolutions, right, per second. So this thing, in a matter of minutes, it'll numb the muscle, numb your hand. Percussively, it bangs. It's almost a massager, right? And it bangs out a lot of the ache and pain so that it's removed, the inflammation. It's stimulated the blood flow to the injury or to the problematic area. It's loosened up the musculature, the knot, the tightening. So this freaking thing, Tracy thought it was a joke. This thing has saved me. I probably use it every day, and I probably use it between 5 and 15 minutes on certain areas. It's helped my knees. It's helped my quads. It's helped my hamstrings. It's helped my calf. It's helped my ankle, my elbow. She has to do my back. It's helped my back. I have a chronic issue in my lower, mid, right side of my back. Fucking awesome. So I'll put a link to the video where you can build this thing. You should get a percussion massager. You should utilize this thing if you're active anywhere. Super critical. This thing's awesome. The one I built, the Power Share out there, from iWorks, or Worx is what it's called. You can order this thing through Amazon. It's epic, and it's become a lifesaver. I use it all the time. It charges quickly. The charge lasts for half an hour, and then you've got tons of time to tear up whatever muscle's bothering you, and you continue to do this regularly, and there's health benefits. You feel them. You don't go with that numbness to the gym. You don't have that apprehensiveness because you've warmed up the joint and you're still in question. Am I going to tweak it again? It feels tight. It feels funny, right? When I tax it, I can feel the weakness in it. And when you do that, you never want to continue your workout because you're headed to injury. And I have done that so often, I had to get this thing. And I had to put this video together, and I had to put this out there. This fucking thing is a lifesaver, as opposed to going and getting a massage like Jay Cutler did. Jay Cutler went and had his muscles, as Mr. Olympia, 6-time, whatever, had his muscles rubbed out weekly at a cost of $1,000 a week. The dude was paying $52,000 a year for custom massages. These things were tailored to him, his muscle mass. This guy would get it, and dude, it's grotesque. You know how giant those guys are. So it's like a side of beef, and you're sticking your fist into this gigantic hypertrophied musculature, and he's getting these knots out where the muscle actually starts to bind. They're breaking up the fiber so that it's fluid again, so that Jay could tax it again and expand it even further and keep the muscle bellies full, keep the symmetry, maintain the health, all the nerve endings, the blood flow, fucking everything, right? All the things that you have to do to remain healthy in an injury-prone, an injury-ridden environment when you're working with weights, and heavy weights especially. So, wanted to get it out there. It's the iWorks, or the Worx skill saw, and you tweak it and make it a percussion massager, and this thing rocks. So, If you need one, build one. Don't buy one. Don't spend $200. Don't buy the stupid accoutrements. The parts that they'll sell you to go in it, because they'll sell you little heads and it's $30. You can make this for 12, right? Just spend a bit of time doing it on your workbench. Awesome sauce. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Woohoo! Percussion massagers. Thanks, YouTube. Talk to you guys again soon. Dave US Show out.